Hey everyone. You know, I thought I'd kind of talk about this for a second. From what I understand, the next story arc in the Nickelodeon TMNT series is going to be their adaptation of City at War. Now, for some of you, like myself, that watched the 2003 to 2009 series, sorry about that. But for some of us that watched the 2003 to 2009 series, a lot of us saw that adaptation of City of War or City at War. I think around the what was it? The second or third season. Excuse me. Now, what's interesting about this is that I have City at War on DVD, so if I need any kind of refresher and reminder, I can look back at that. But if I remember correctly, City at War, the adaptation for the 2003 to 2009 series, that is where we were introduced to Karai's character for the first time in that adaptation. Now, not only were we introduced to her for the first time, but it was through this adaptation that I guess you can kind of say the connection, the respect between her and Leonardo, possibly somewhat of an attraction, was created, and it went from there. Sort of a, like I say, respectable rivalry, friendship, if you will, love and hate friendship or relationship between the two was created, and we went, like I said, we went from there. What makes this adaptation coming up on the current series, the Nickelodeon series, what makes this interesting is we already know who Karai is. As a matter of fact, let's say Karai has gone through a lot in this series since we last saw her. If you kind of catch my drift. Yeah. If you watch the series, you follow the series, you know that she got mutated into a shape-shifting snake. Basically, she can shapeshift her. Oops. She could shapeshift herself back to human if need be. Yeah, she could shapeshift herself back to human if need be. I don't know if that ability has been taken away or not, but yeah, she can shapeshift herself back into human. Now, with that said, hold on for a sec. But like I was saying, we already got introduced to her, and as you can see, she's gone through a lot. And I don't know if the shapeshifting has been taken away or not, which basically, as far as last time I remember, she could shapeshift, like I said, between human and snake. Now, according to one episode, she was basically starting to lose a bit of her humanity to the snake portion, or the snake side of things, that basically to her snaky side, if you catch my drift. So, yeah. So yeah, she basically last thing I heard, excuse me, last thing I heard was she had lost her humanity a little bit. Shredder took advantage of that by implanting something in her like a worm. The turtles were able to get it out of her and help, I guess, restore her back to normal. Basically, restore her to, at least acknowledge that Shredder was never her father and that Shredder had lied to her, and the reason she's now this shape shifting mutant snake is because of him. So yeah, and that should be, I guess, around episode 15 to 17, I'm guessing. But the reason I say that is due to the fact that, like I said, due to the fact that um, when the 2003 series did the City at War adaptation, uh, like I said, that was our introduction to Karai, as far as I know, as far as I can remember. Now, with everything like I mentioned earlier being established there, with Karai and her sort of love-hate friendship and respectable rivalry and relationship with Leonardo and such, the question is now, how do they adapt City at War into this version of Turtles, since we already know who Karai is, and like I was saying earlier, had basically Karai herself had gone through a lot, especially being mutated into a shape-shifting snake. How do you how do you uh, what's the saying? How do you adapt to that? How do you adapt that into this incarnation? What elements from the original City at War do you bring in? What elements and stuff from the 2003 series do you introduce? What do you do? What elements? How do you adapt City at War, which, as far as the 2003 series was concerned, had introduced Karai, and yet in this incarnation, we already know who Karai is, and like I said, has already herself had gone through so much already. How do you do this? What will be, acknowledged, referenced, brought in, adapted? How will they do this? Now, my guess is, even though I probably won't watch the series or watch the episodes due to the fact that either I'm working or I just go by with Andre, a black nerd comedy. Andre, black nerd comedy, uh, and catching up with Andre on Regal Cinemas. Um, I just go by what he says and what he reviews, and apparently this is how I look at it, and I apologize if this goes a little long, but this is the way I see it. I see Karai being a focal point of this City of War, a City at War. I see that. I see her. being a focal point of this as a reason for the Turtles to get involved. One is you're going to have Shredder, because we saw this. We saw this in Earth's Last Stand. You know, we were wondering at the end of season 3 why Shredder, instead of putting his difference aside with Splinter, why he decided to use that moment when both are racing towards the generator to try and stop it, or try to stop the timer from going off, why he chose that moment to stab Splinter in the back and kill him. I mean, literally stab him in the back and kill him. Well, we find out here in Earth's Last Stand, when basically the Turtles that went into space because of this come back. And I'm sure a lot of people wonder, how did Splinter now find out? Did he find out because he spoke with Leonardo of the future, the Leonardo in space? Or did something happen that he was able to, I guess, know what was going to happen? Now, Andre said in his review that Leonardo, I don't know if it's the future Leonardo, probably the future Leonardo, told him to watch out or something. So I don't know if it was that. Again, that's a plot hole that needs to be addressed, maybe. Hopefully, I don't know if it will. But the point is, Splinter this time sensed what was going to happen, prevented Shredder from doing it, you know, confronted Shredder for the fact that, you know, he was going to prevent Splinter from trying to save the Earth because he knew he was Snake. Ironic, the word snake being used. And the reason Shredder said, and the reason Shredder gives, is he blames Splinter for Karai being gone. Yeah, that's why he kills him. Not because he wanted to win, even if he lost, you know, and the whole world gets destroyed. He wanted to kill him because of Karai being gone. So that is the reason. And when one thinks about it, that definitely could, like I say, play a focal point, or have that character of Karai play a focal point in this adaptation of City at War. Because you could have Shredder have his Foot Clan, basically his foot soldiers, his army and all that, his mutants and all that, tear up the city, terrorize the city, do what they have to do, all for the purpose of finding Karai. Now, you could have other factions, like you could have the Purple Dragons come out and wonder why, you know, Shredder and his gang are, you know, hustling, what's the word? Muscling in on their territory. Why they're doing this? Why they're destroying certain areas that belong to other gangs or factions, and that could lead into City of War, and that could lead the Turtles into being involved. And the reason I say that is this, to me, City at War, as far as the Turtles are concerned, it could be played similar in a sense to where Raph could be like, look, we just came back from space. We're literally Turtles from the future living in the past, which is now the present to us. So let's take a break. Let's not stick our noses where they don't belong. Let's let Shredder and his goons duke it out with these other factions, these Purple Dragons and these other criminal factions and mobsters. You know, let them duke it out. Let them basically beat the hell out of each other, destroy each other, wipe each other out. Maybe make it easier for us so we don't have to always, you know, go out and about and do this and that. Because if you remember the 2003 adaptation, Leonardo wanted to do something. I think it was Leonardo. I'm not really sure. I think it was. He wanted to do something because of the fact that the city was at war and people were going to get hurt. Raph, I think, is the one that said, hey, this is not our responsibility. We don't have no purpose here. Or purpose being part of this. Here's my thought. Karai being a central point. The Turtles are going to find out that the reason, obviously the Turtles, April and Casey, they're going to find out that the reason Shredder has his goons, his gang, his army tearing up the city. It's because they're looking for Karai. That is going to be the reason Leonardo wants to get involved. Not just to make sure innocent people don't get hurt, but to help find Karai and bring her home. Now, the question is going to be, will Splinter go along with it because that is his daughter? Or will he be like, let her, or will Splinter, being Splinter, be like, let Karai choose for herself. Let Karai discover the truth herself. Let Karai be the one that either decides to, be on her own still, live out her existence the way it is, or make the right decision to either come home to us or go home with Shredder. Basically, that's what I think they're going to have Splinter do. They're going to have Splinter be like, look, Leonardo, son, your heart's in the right place and everything, but you got to let Karai make the decision herself. You cannot involve yourself in something just because you want to save her, or just because you want to bring her home, or you want to help her. You got to let her, make that decision herself. You got to let her help herself, and not only regaining maybe her humanity, but making the decision of either to go with Shredder or to come home to the Turtles and come home to Splinter. You see, I think that's, again, these are just predictions of what I think they might do, but I truly believe that's the direction they're going to probably go in with Splinter, in that kind of direction, in that similar capacity, if you catch my drift. Now, I could also see this maybe, and again, these are just predictions of what I think the City at War adaptation is going to be like for the Nickelodeon series. I think this is also going to open up a lot of work, a lot of emotion. It's going to open up basically a lot of stuff being brought to the forefront. It's going to open up a can of worms, or it's going to open up a can of emotions, or a can of truth. And what I'm talking about is you're going to have Leonardo, despite Splinter telling him the same thing in a similar way, but more fatherly, sensei-wise, what Raph's trying to tell him, and maybe what Donnie and Mike are trying to tell him. But Leo is going to want to do what he has to do, is going to want to defy, basically, in a sense, what they're saying, and, try to save Karai. And to me, this is finally going to bring up a lot of questions that we've been wanting answered with the Turtles. Here's what I feel is going to happen, and again, my prediction, my personal predictions of what I think could happen, my opinion on what I think could happen. You'll probably have the Turtles confront Leo when Leo starts to defy what Splinter says, because Leo could say, "Hey, look, I'm leader. Let's do this. I'm saying we do this." And you could have someone like Raph or Donnie go like, "Look, yeah, you're the leader, but Splinter's our father. He's our sensei, and he's our master. And if he's telling us don't go, we don't go." But yeah, you can have Leonardo be like, "Look, I understand that, but I can't sit back and watch this." And you can have Leonardo say, "Look, I understand that, but I can't sit back and have see innocent people get hurt." And again, you could have this go back and forth until they finally confront, or at least in my opinion, you can have either Raph or Donnie confront him and say, "Look, you can come out and say, look, you can come out, you can basically, you can have Raphael or Donatello confront him and say, look, you could say you're doing this because you don't want to see innocent people hurt, but you're only doing this because of what Master Splinter told you not to do, and that's try to find Karai and bring her home. You got to let her make that decision." And maybe you could have Donatello or Raphael say, "Look, we're willing to risk our necks to save innocent. We're willing to go out there as ninjas and stealth and help save people from being hurt, but we're not willing to go out there. But we are not willing to go out there and risk our necks just to save your girlfriend." You can have him finally acknowledge that Leo thinks of Karai as his girlfriend. And thus, again, you can open up that can of worms or the can of emotions or those bring a lot of those things to the forefront, where Leonardo can finally start confronting them, and in turn, you could have Leonardo confront maybe Donatello and Raphael when they say that, maybe even Mikey, and say, "Oh yeah, you want to call you want to call Karai my girlfriend?" And maybe answering towards Donatello, you can be like, they could have Leonardo go like, "Well, at least I'm not always fascinating or fantasizing over being with someone like April when I know, oh, she's going to probably end up with Casey in the long run. Or I'm not in love with some kind of salamander creature that's in space. It is in space and I'm never going to see again." And maybe out of anger, finish it up with Michelangelo and say, "Hey, at least I don't have a girlfriend. At least my girlfriend isn't a time traveling klutz," or something like that. Basically, this to me, City of War, could be the moment where you bring that to the forefront. Because if Karai is going to be the focal point, like I said earlier, Leonardo's going to want to make it his mission to save her, to get to her first and bring her back to the lair, or bring her back to the home. You know that. You know that for a fact. You know that for a fact. But again, that's just my opinion of what I believe, my predictions and opinion of what I believe could happen. Now, could I be wrong with my predictions? Could I be wrong with my opinions? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I truly believe that's the direction they're going to go in. One of the main focuses of City of War is going to be that. True, you're going to get references and adaptations similar to what the 2003 series did. There's no doubt about it. But in the end, you know that because of the fact that Karai's already been introduced, and the fact that she's gone through a lot already, she's going to be the main focal point, and Leonardo's going to want to make it his mission to get to her first before Shredder and his gang does, before anybody else does, and bring her home and try to restore her. And maybe you can even reference previous episodes. Maybe you can reference the fact that Donatello has this anti-mutagen that he used on Kirby, April's father, to restore him. So you could have that referenced where you could say, "Well, Donnie, do you still have some of that anti-mutagen that you used to restore Kirby?" And if Donnie says something like, "Well, yeah, but not very much," why? And you could have Leonardo, or they could have Leonardo, I should say, I know I'm saying you, but, and I apologize, but they could have Leonardo go like, "Good, I want you to say that because once I find Karai, or we find Karai, and bring her home, you're going to use it on her to restore her to normal." And again, that could play into the fact of Splinter telling him, "Hey, let Karai make the decision on her own. If she wants to be with us, she'll be with us. If she wants to be with Shredder, she'll go with Shredder. If she wants to be on her own, let her be on her own. Don't try to force her to do something that you want." And again, this could also play into them having a bit of a argument where a lot of stuff comes to the forefront, where you can have Raphael or Donatello, probably mostly Raphael, say, "Hey, look, we're willing to be in stealth, as be ninjas and go in stealth and make sure innocent people don't get hurt, but we're not about to risk our necks just to save your girlfriend because you want risk our necks, but just because you want to find and save your girlfriend, or just because you want to find and save and bring your girlfriend, or find your girlfriend and bring her back." And again, like I said, that can open up a lot of stuff. That can definitely bring a lot of stuff to the forefront. You can have him confront all of his brothers about a similar situation they're in. Like, you can have him confront Donatello and go like, "Well, at least I'm not fantasizing of being with somebody like April, who I should know by now is going to probably end up with Casey, despite the fact she's kissed me on the cheek several times. Or I'm not in love with some kind of salamander soldier that lives light years away from me in space. Or I'm not in love with some kind of time traveling klutz of an apprentice." You can bring a lot of stuff to the forefront through a lot of emotion, because when I look at how they're building Leonardo, they're building him up to be a great leader for the Turtles, but they're building him up to have all this emotion that sooner or later is just going to come out. I mean, if we see him nearly crack, if you will, or go on the verge of the breaking point in Earth's Last Stand when he finds out the Fugitoid lied to them or has been lying to them, what do you think could happen here? And this could involve Karai. So, to me, that is my prediction, in my opinion, of what I believe could be the main focal point in how they're going to go about with this City at War adaptation for the Nickelodeon series. Now, like I said, could I be wrong? Absolutely. I probably will be wrong in some areas, but I don't think I will be. I think I might be correct in some parts that they do, and some things they bring to the forefront, some things that become focal point, but that's really about it. So let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like. Do you think I'm on point with some of this? Do you think some of this might be brought to the forefront as part of the a City at War adaptation? Or do you think I could be wrong? Let me know down below. Comment if you like. And I am out.